A seismic nuclear shift is rippling across northern Europe, and the Kremlin is already drawing its red lines. Following Finland's historic decision, Baltic nations are now moving to dismantle their own long-standing bans on nuclear weapons. Moscow's reaction is cold and immediate. They frame this not as a defensive strengthening, but as a direct provocation that will force a drastic Russian response. For the Kremlin, the regional map is being redrawn, and they are signaling that these borders will no longer be nuclear-free.
This, probably contrary to the expectations of those countries adopting such a decision, will not add to their security. On the contrary, it will significantly increase the level of danger for them, because countermeasures will be taken with regard to such countries so that we can ensure our interests.
Dmitry Peskov has made Moscow's posture explicit. Any encroachment of nuclear-capable infrastructure toward Russia's frontier will be met with immediate countermeasures. The Kremlin views the Baltic movement not as an isolated policy change, but as a deliberate attempt to keep up with Finland in a high-stakes race toward deeper NATO integration. The warning is unambiguous. Proximity to Russia's border now carries a heavy, escalating cost.
We know that a similar decision has been made in Finland. Most likely, the Baltic states will try to keep up with Finland by adopting a similar decision.
This transition is currently centered on legislative intent. By scrubbing decades-old legal barriers from their constitutions, these nations are granting future administrations the flexibility to host NATO's nuclear assets. Moscow sees this as the thin end of the wedge, where legal changes today provide the operational foundation for strategic nuclear deployment tomorrow. Finland's pivot, clearing the path for the transit and potential storage of nuclear explosives, marks the definitive end of the post-Cold War security order. As President Alexander Stubb articulated at the Ankara summit, the alliance is evolving into NATO 3.0, a leaner, more robust structure where Europe is finally assuming the heavy lifting of its own defense. The target is no longer just 2% GDP. It is a massive 5% push to ensure Europe can stand as a self-reliant deterrent.
Let's just look at the big picture. If someone would have told me 4 years ago that Finland and Sweden would join NATO, if someone would have told me 3 years ago that Ukraine is on top in the war of aggression against Ukraine, if someone would have told me 2 years ago that we're going to 5% of defense expenditure, and if someone would have told me last year that we are implementing NATO 3.0 here with big burden sharing and burden moving from the United States to Europe, I would not have believed it.
The strategic landscape is now in flux. With NATO increasing its flexibility and Russia promising retaliation, the threshold for escalation has lowered. Moscow's rhetoric confirms that the more these capabilities are integrated into Baltic and Nordic defense, the more hostile the Russian posture will become. The era of the nuclear-free North is closing, and the age of high-stakes, direct deterrence has arrived.
Our assessment is that Russia will not stop this war because of economic adversity. Russia will not stop this war because of the loss of Russian soldiers. But they will stop this war and start negotiating if they feel that the Russian public is turning against the war. And that's what we are seeing right now.